All right, ladies and gentlemen, not quite a full grid this time around, only 18 drivers at least. I'm excited to get on their way. It'll be just me today. Unfortunately, Havoc was unable to make it. He had other obligations. That's either no, not Jer. I guess that's Vito. That's the first to come out now to start this qualifying one session. So let's ride on board with him as he's to everybody watching at home right now that the title sponsor for myself, Rogers Internet, is been not quite cooperative with me today, so we will see if these problems have sorted themselves out here in time for the stream. But yeah, so it's Q1, 18 drivers at least for qualifying. So to run down the order, we've got Pubed, Pretzels, Jer, Young Lights, Sweetcar 19, Lewis, Josh 2, Carter, Gernman, Blinn Machine, Knight, Vito, who we're riding on board with right now, Izat, Astunik, Sophian, Jamie 1, Catastrophic, and Biz Racing to round out the grid around correctly. Either way, I'm not going to worry too much about the logistics of it, but a fun fact for those of you who were not aware, Interlagos is one of the few counterclockwise circuits on the Formula 1 calendar, so I don't know, I thought that was pretty cool. Figured I'd share that with everybody watching at home, for those of you who were not aware, because I know when I found out, that completely blew my mind. As we see Vito, he's starting his qualifying lap now, his first lap. Looks like there's going to be a bit of traffic as he's coming through, so we'll see what happens. A little bit of a weird line he took there. He gets by the first car pretty easily, so very good for him. We'll see if that Ferrari ahead of him will give him the room as he's going around, and probably going to be the first driver to set a time here. But yeah, it is Q1, so a lot of the drivers getting used to, just getting used to the track, getting used to how the car feels. There we go. Good job, Josh, too. Good call there. As you're letting everybody through. But yeah, we're getting used to the track. It's a little bit cold. The tires are a little bit cold. It's the first qualifying session. It's it takes a bit of time before getting into the groove, regardless of how much time trial, how much practice you've done. Once you're into the actual lobby itself, it can make things, it's a brand new world, or at least in my experience, that's been the case. But we're going to see Vito cross the line. He will take provisional pole. A 109.3 is the time to beat, at least for now. But we will see as qualifying goes on if anybody can beat that time. But yeah, so we'll have to find out and see who's actually going to be moving on, since we do not have a full grid. Because normally it is the top 15 that moves on to the second qualifying. But I'm not too sure if the game decides to just take the top 15 as Gernman crosses the line. He sets a 109.2, so slightly better than Vito's time. But we're still early days here in qualifying, as let's ride with Pretzels. He's on the medium tires, maybe getting used to that tire in Q1, maybe feels confident with the speed that he can move into Q2 just using the medium tires, not wearing out some of those soft tires. Speaking of the medium tires, there goes Izat setting a 109.279, so just barely inches out Gernman, but he's on those medium tires, so we're only going to see more pace from him, and I'm actually surprised that we're seeing these 109s this early in the qualifying session. So that gets me excited for what's to come. Hopefully we'll see some 108s and maybe even low 108s. Josh too, he crosses the line, sets a 109.1. But yeah, so we'll have to see what happens with these 18 drivers, if the top 15 will move on, or if they're just going to eliminate the bottom 5. So for those of you who have the stream open watching while racing, maybe don't shoot for 15th just in case. Of course, you never want to be on that bubble, but if the bottom 5 do get eliminated out of this Q1 session, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you might want to shoot for 13th instead of 15th. After this Q1 session. But yeah, we'll see as, wow, Sukar 19, speaking of, he's on the medium tires, and he's actually the first to go into the 108s, and he sets a 108.7. So Sukar 19 definitely here to race here at Interlagos. Surprise, surprise, he is the championship leader, but Izat's been putting up a good fight against him in this season too. I'd like to see a bit more of Jamie 1, to be quite completely honest. He was the, he was the primary runner in the first season, but we haven't really seen much of him this time around in Season 2. But yeah, I mean, the more fighters we can have against Weekday 19, the better, and I'm sure it'll make the championship that much more exciting as we move on. Even though it is a bit of a shortened season this time around, only around 9 races for the season 2 of ISRL for throughout all the tiers really, and that's just to prepare for F1 2020 that's coming out in, oh my goodness, almost about a little over a month now. But there we go, we're riding on board with Pube. He crosses the line, he sets a 109.1 on the soft tires, good enough for provisional 4th in this Q1 session as Sophion joins. Fortunately, he's going to have to sit through this qualifying, so he won't get the reps in the laps, but that's all right. At least he'll be here on time for the race. And yeah, so at least that's another driver. We're that much closer to a full grid. But here we go. It's Q1, 11 minutes to go. Here, let's jump with Carter. Carter has shown, it looks like he's starting his first qualifying lap now. Carter, I gotta say, he's shown lots of pace within the last, as Season 2 started. If I remember in Season 1, he was always there, but not really there, as much as he'd like to be. But that's definitely not the case in Season 2. He has performed very, very strongly in this Season 2. He put in a lot of work, and it's definitely showing here in this in the Tier 1. And yeah, I expect a good race from him, but honestly, I expect a good race from everybody, because there really isn't a driver that's, there's not really any slow drivers in this Tier 1 championship. They're all really fast. Any one of them can compete. It's just a matter of maybe who gets lucky on strategy, who gets lucky, who gets the better strategy, who gets, maybe a lucky safety car here and there. But yeah, we'll have to see. I think it's going to be an exciting qualifying, an exciting race. We had we had a lot of excitement in the Tier 3 and even the Tier 2 races before this today, as Carter, he's sets nearly a 109 flat. That's a 109.085. That puts him up into P3, so pretty solid. Young Lights, I just noticed, he's actually our second driver to set a 108. He sets a 108.9, so just barely on the soft tires, but still a 108's a 108, as more drivers are starting to set times. But if you're the likes of, Balloon Machine's out on an out lap, so we'll see what he can do. But if you're the likes of Knight, Astunik, Sophion, Jamie 1, Catastrophic, you might be buying your time, but you don't want to wait too long, unless you truly feel like you can make that pace. Because it might not be the top 15, it could just be the top 13 that move on to Q2. So I'll have to see. Balloon Machine is actually on the medium tires, so I guess he trusts his pace in that Alfa Romeo car, but we'll have to see. Maybe maybe he's just gauging the feel of the medium tires, because there is a mandatory pit stop in the race. You're definitely not going to finish the race on soft tires either way, unless unless you're willing to quite literally drive around on ice near the end of the lap. So maybe it's not a bad idea to get a feel of those medium tires before you actually go into the race and just jump in blindly on them. As more and more drivers are setting times. Jer in that Renault car, he's sitting on a provisional P1 with a 108.5 on the soft tires, so faster than Weekday 19, although there is a tire difference. But who knows? Maybe Jer's got a lot of pace here in this around Interlagos. Some drivers, they love this track. Some drivers hate this track. So we'll have to see who has the pace once we really need to call for it. But let's see. We're on board with Blind Machine as he's coming around the last sector, the last turn here. And he's going to cross the line as Google Dougal has joined the session. He crosses the line. He sets a 109.8. So that actually sets him at the bottom of the drivers who have set times. So he's going to have to get a move on now, as he actually invalidates his next lap time. So yeah, he's going to have to get a move on, get around the circuit, get into the pits, switch on to those probably a pair of soft tires, and get another lap in before the end of this Q1 session. Because especially if you're going through the qualifying, the last thing you want to do is get knocked out in Q1, as Knight says a purple second sector, so he's probably feeling the car early on those soft tires. But yeah, so you want to you want to be able to go through to Q2, Q3, because that gives you more time, more races, more racing, more laps. Because when you're sitting around being knocked out in Q1, his Knight goes provisional P3 for this Q1 session. But yeah, if you're knocked out, you're having to sit through Q2, you're having to sit through Q3, and that can take you out of the mindset of the race. But we'll see. Here we go. Jamie 1. I was speaking about him. Looks like he's about to cross the line soon enough to finish his first flying lap. What's he going to do? That's good enough for P5. So it's a 108.9. But yeah, P5, pretty solid for him. I'm sure you'd probably like to be a little bit higher, but Q1, you're not really going to see too much of the true pace of these drivers, as now just about everybody has set times, except for Catastrophic and a Stunik, that are the only two actually haven't set times. So yeah, Blend Machine, Lewis, both Alfa Romeo cars, they're sitting on the bubble. Lewis is going out on an out lap now. So we'll have to see if he can improve his time from last time. But I think even Pretzels is probably sitting on a bubble seat as well, just from what I can remember from last week. Since we didn't really have a full grid last week, and that was the case where you're in P14, you got knocked out at Q1. So we'll have to see. But more drivers, they're probably going around setting their flying laps, doing in laps. Excuse me, sorry about that. But let's see. I think Young Lights, I guess he just finished a time. He's on 3-lap-old soft tires, so I'm not too sure what he's doing there. Maybe just trying to stick to one tire, just get a few reps in. He's sitting in provisional P2, and we're starting to see more 108s, but a 108.5 is a solid time. So maybe he's just trying to get a few reps through these tires, get a feel for the tire wear, because that's something that I think a few drivers are doing last time too, just trying to feel the tire wear, over more than just 1 or 2 laps, trying to see, maybe do some calculations of how long the soft tires can last. Because I know, speaking out of my experience in the Tier 2 race, my soft tires, they lasted pretty well for me, and I was pushing on them pretty hard to start off the race, and I was able to take him a good 17 laps. So that's not to say that any one of these drivers can take it 17 laps. Some are more, some have more tire wear than others, just in the style of driving, in the setups, what you have it. But there we go. Lewis, he's going to cross the line. Let's see, can he better his time? Yeah, that bumps him up to P13, P12 actually, as Josh too, he retires from the session, so he gets knocked down to P15 as he retires there. So yeah, I guess maybe P15 is the cutoff. So I'm not too sure what happened. I think he just lost it. Let's see. There's Vito. Oh yeah, he oh my goodness, you can see all the debris there on the track. So he just clipped the looked like he just clipped the curb. Lots of drivers I've noticed have had lots of trouble with that section there, coming out of, what is that, turn 1, 2, 3, turn 4, I believe, turn 4 and turn 5, just clipping the turn a little bit too much and completely losing the car into the wall. It's not really been much of a trouble speed, different scary points. I know, like this section that we're going to see Biz Racing coming through, personally, I found it being very tricky. This turn, in my practice, I was losing it a lot there, just leading into that. 3, you have to watch out on the throttle going from 2nd, 3rd, and 4th there, because if you just put a little bit too much gas coming through right where that 2 is, looks like that's not Carter, but Jamie 1 going through now. Car and throw it right into the wall, and that could be a race over just like that. But yeah, Biz Racing, he's invalidated his time, so let's jump on to somebody else, and yeah, let's go to Pube. He's sitting in 11th. And we'll have to see if he can set a bit of a better time now, as looks like he's doing pretty well. He's only on the high ERS mode, so not really going on that overtake. Maybe that's oh, there we go, bumping it in, so maybe doing a bit of ERS management. It seemed to work out for him. It's a purple sector too. So, good for him. We'll see. That's pretty hopeful for him to cross the line and probably get a much better result than what he is currently sitting in P11. But here we go. Let's see. He's going to cross the line, and that actually sets a provisional pole for Q1, a 108.4, which is better than Jerry's 108.5, as he's... no, he's not going into the pits. That's probably Jamie 1 or Carter going into the pits. But yeah, let's see. Who else can we watch? Vito, he's invalidated his time. So that's a little bit unfortunate for him, as he's going to have to go for another lap. Thankfully, he's got enough ERS to take that other lap. Let's ride on board with him. He's currently in 13th, so I'm thinking that's probably the bubble. Jer, he's retired from the session. He's happy with his Q1 performance. Currently sitting in P2. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, most of these drivers, it looks like they're sitting in the pits, not wanting to use up too much of the tires. Going into Q2, Q1 doesn't really matter too much, especially if you know you have the pace to make it into that top 15. But yeah, let's see. So Vito coming around that, it's a pretty tricky second sector there. He elects to stay into third gear. I notice it's a bit of some like to stay in third, some like to go down to second and pop it into third. It's really a preference thing, just like this next portion here that we're going to see. He goes up into seventh. Personally, I like to stay into sixth, but it's just that extra shift, and then I have to shift right back down just with my setup. So yeah, there's a lot of preference there. I'm not too sure how the timing works in terms of, if you really shift up, if you're really making that much extra time for the little tenths of a second. But, that tenths of a second, especially in qualifying, that could, that could make it or break it for you. But Vito crosses the line. It sets him up to P8. So looking pretty good to move on to Q2 with about a minute and a quarter left. But yeah, let's see. Pretzels looks like he's going out in a lap. He's gonna have to set a better time. He's going to have to beat his 109.4, and it looks like if you're not setting 108s, you're kind of sitting you're kind of worrying a little bit, it seems, like already in Q1. So actually, are we going to see 107s before this qualifying is over? I'm excited to see that. For those of you watching at home, in the chat, I'm going to make this impromptu poll in Q1. Do you think we're going to see some 107s before qualifying is over? Not specifically in Q1, but, maybe in Q2, Q3, I think so, just with the likes of Sucron 19, Jer, Pewd. I mean, we're already seeing 108.4 as the best time, so, it's only going to go faster from there. But here we go, Pretzels, he's coming around the last few corners here, the last one, the little kink, he's going to cross the line. That bumps him up to P8, so now he's sitting much more pretty here for the end of Q1. We're counting down the last few seconds now in this Q1 session, and yeah, there we go. With the end of Q1, he sets a time up into P2 as Pew, Jer, Young Lights, Jamie 1. They're comfy with where they are, so they're not going to bother going through. Looks like Pretzel's doing good. Knight, I think he just finished a lap because he doesn't have too much ERS left. So yeah, letting other cars go through. So he finished a lap, but he's looking pretty good to finish in P2. Let's actually jump with a Stunik. I think he's on a flying lap. He's on a flying lap now. He hasn't set a time just yet, but he's gonna have to hurry it up, and hopefully he sets a good time. Just because I'd like to see a Stunik move on into that Q2 session. He is a pretty fast driver too. He's put in a lot of work, and let's see, he crosses the line and he sets a 110.6, but now he's popping it into overtake, but he doesn't have too much ERS left. But that's it. So unfortunately for Stunik, he's knocked out of Q1. Catastrophic, who hasn't set a time, he's knocked out of Q1 as well, it seems. So it's very unfortunate for Catastrophic and a Stunik. But yeah, let's see. So now we're just waiting on Pretzels. This is going to cross the line, taking it slow and steady. Wants to want to make sure there's nothing funky with the paint crossing the line. That's good enough for P10. So yeah, let's see who will be moving on to this Q2 session. As here we go. So yeah, Pubed sets provisional P1, just barely inching out Izat in second. Jer rounds up the top three in this Q1 session. But here we go. Young Lights, Jamie 1, Biz Racing, Sweet Crown, Sophion, Knight, and Pretzel seem to be the top 10. Sweet Crown 19, the only one of these drivers setting a time on those medium tires. But, I'm sure everybody at home knows as much as I do that he's definitely got the pace. Now let's see. Yeah, so there we go. Josh 2, Blinn Machine, Astunik, and Catastrophic. They have been knocked out of this of the Q1 session. So yeah, it looks like it actually was the 15 knocked out. So yeah, so we'll have to see. Maybe shoot for top 9 instead of top 10 for those of for the racers watching the stream, just to see what's going on. My recommendation: shoot for the top 9, and not the top 10, as the top 14 now are moving on as the deck joins. So I think we will have our full grid in time for the race, but unfortunately for the deck, he will not be able to qualify as we're moving on into Q2. So yeah, here we go. We're just waiting for the drivers to go out. About, we got 15 minutes in Q2, and now this is where the strategy comes into play. This is definitely where the strategy comes into play, because if you're in the top 10, the tire you set your best Q2 time on will be the tire that you are required to start the race on. So it looks like most of these drivers going out on the medium tires, as Pubed nearly gets in the way. It was almost like my goodness, I was gonna say, if that was a Red Bull that went out behind, it was a Haas. Oh my god! Oh no, what happened there? Is that Young Lights? Yeah, that was Young Lights, who had a bit of a shaky pit exit. But I was gonna say a little reminiscent to the 2019 race. The incident with Max Verstappen and Kubica there, fresh in my mind. I was watching that yesterday, but I guess thankfully the game is a little bit smarter than that to not create any incidents. But at the same time, it's fun to joke around about it. Especially for those of you who saw the replay, they'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, we'll see what happened. That was an exciting race with the real life Brazilian Grand Prix in 2019. I'm sure we're gonna have an exciting race here on the ISRL Season 2 around Interlagos, as we're about to find out soon enough, because Tier 3 and Tier 2, I've said it before, I'll say it again, they had very exciting races too. I'm not too sure about the Tier 3. I didn't get to watch it in full. I know the Tier 2 weather didn't really take into effect too much. I know we do see a lot of weather happening in Interlagos, as Young Lights, he invalidates his time pretty early on. Probably the best place to invalidate your time, because you can kind of conserve your ERS and make sure you've got it ready to go for the for the next go around, if that is the case, especially on the medium tire. Well, with Q2, if you're planning on stopping, maybe the extra lap might not be the best idea, but at the same time, if you're looking to start on those medium tires, it might not be a bad idea just to do 2 laps, and then, do 2 laps and then set your time, just so that way, your tires are nice and cooked, ready to go. But we'll see here. Let's ride with somebody else. There we go. Pretzels. He's going around. He's on the soft tires, it appears. Yes, he is on the soft tires. Let's see what kind of time he can put and where it puts him. Nobody's set a time just yet, with a little over 12 minutes to go in this Q2 session. But let's see what Pretzels can do with that Toro Rosso car. He's got the pace, as all these drivers do. But we just have to, hopefully everything works for him. Sets a purple sector 2, but I guess not too many people, since they haven't set times. Everybody might set a purple sector 2 thus far, but he's going to cross the line soon enough. And now let's see, he's going to be in first, but what time is that going to be for him? 1:08.7, so already the 1:08s that we're seeing, but 1:08.7 is the time to beat here in Q2. With 11.5 minutes to go. Lewis crosses the line. He sets a 1:09.2. Biz Racing, he sets a 1:09.2, just barely inching out Lewis. And Gernman, he sets a 1:09.6 on the medium tires. Biz Racing was on the medium tires too, to set a 1:09.2. So we're probably going to see even more pace from him as it goes on. But it appears like as if a lot of these drivers are looking to elect to run on the medium tires, probably hoping to get the going to medium softs, as Izat, he's sitting on pole now. He sets a 1:08.5 on the soft tires. So I think those trying to start on the medium tires maybe not going to work too well, just from what we can see with the field. Honestly, though, I don't think tire wear is too much of an issue around Interlagos, at least in my experience. I was able to take them 17 laps, albeit my internet caused issues during my race, but still, Jeff was telling me I could take the tires 17 laps, and if you can take a 17 laps, it is only a 36 lap race, if I recall. So it's basically 19-20 laps on the mediums, which is definitely doable, I would say. But yeah, here we go. More drivers are setting times. The top 3 have set times on the softs. But here, let's see. Jamie 1, he's on the mediums. Looks like he's about ready to he's going through his sector 2, pops it into overtake there after going down to high in that very technical second sector there. He sets a purple sector 2. So yeah, let's see. Probably a very good lap for Jamie 1, as I'm hoping to see. There we go. Yep, so he's not going to the pits. He's going to cross the line. Let's see. That's good enough for P4 to make him the fastest of the medium tire drivers thus far in this Q2 session. But he sets a 109.196. Well, there we go. Speaking of Jer, he's the first of the medium tires to go into a 108. He sets a 108.8. But his medium tires are now 2 laps old, so you know, not really the end of the world, especially if you're starting the race on them. You still have a bit of a better strategy compared to if you're starting on the softs in terms of track position. But I'm sure these Tier 1 drivers have set, they've done lots of practice, they've done lots of, lots of test runs to see what kind of strategies work best for them and their particular driving style around the, around the circuit. But I do have to say, it's only the top 10 though, who, or the top 10, top 9, who are going to have to start on the tires that they, that they qualify in Q2. Of course, the from 11th down, they get free tire choice regardless of what tire they set their qualifying times on. But here we go. Let's ride with Sucrown 19, since we're probably not going to give him too much love as the race goes on, unless we've got some nice battling going for the lead. But yeah, so Sucrown 19, he's the championship leader. I'm always hoping to see a battle going on with him. Izat seems to be the front runner for that battle, but we'll have to see going around Interlagos come the race time who can compete with him. But here we go. He's trying to set the time on the soft tires with about 8 minutes to go. So let's see. He's sticking to full overtake on the ERS. But he sets a purple sector 2, and look at that. He's actually coming up to a Red Bull, so he might actually get a bit of tow. Depending on if he can catch up. Actually, no, never mind. He's just a little bit too far for that. But either way, I don't even think he's going to need it as he crosses the line, and that's a P1, a 108.2 for Sucrown 19. Wow, so nearly a 107 in Q2. I was expecting to see that in Q3 when everyone's just gunning as fast as they can. Yeah, so 108.2 is the time to beat now, as we've had 10 drivers setting times. Let's actually jump with his, I was going to jump with his teammate, but he actually crosses the line. He sets a 108.4. So, let's ride with Sophion as he's in the session now. There we go. He crosses the line. Good enough for P4. Sophion has had lots of pace in this Season 2 in that Ferrari. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the car. Maybe he just loves that Ferrari car, and he's just, like clockwork for him. But, he's been a bit of a surprise for me. I knew he had the pace, but I didn't think he had that much pace. But, yeah, so he's another driver we're going to have to look out for. Yeah, let's see. So most of the drivers set times. We're going to see people going for other times. Gurman being one of them. Let's see. He's going to cross the line. Was he actually being helped by his teammate there a little bit? He crosses the line in P7, letting his teammate go through now. Maybe a bit of a tough timing on the for the Red Bull team, because I'm sure Knight would have loved to tow, especially on those medium tires. He probably would have loved to tow going through this second DRS zone here. But alas, it didn't quite work out for him there. But we'll see as he's going around. Honestly, Knight he's got a lot of pace. I always hope to see him fighting for the win, but he always seems to be caught up, at least in Season 2, he always seems to be caught up in an incident early on. I do have to say, Tier 2, no safety car around Interlagos, so it's actually a very quick race. So that actually gives me hope that we might actually see a very clean race for Tier 1, but I'm not too sure if it was because they took things a little bit more cautiously in Tier 2. Tier 1, you're pushing, you're going to do whatever you can to take that position, to take that, to get that edge. So it might be more prone to safety cars. Knight crosses the line. He sets a 109.5, so a little bit disappointed with that time he must be, as he's only good for P13 with 5 minutes to go in qualifying. So hopefully he's got enough time to make it around and get back in the pits, switch over to another set of tires, and set a quicker time. Carter in that Mercedes car, he's just sitting in the pits. Hopefully he's just buying his time. He's doing a one or done. Honestly, I like to go around, set a banker lap. It's not like you have to worry about your tires for Q3, just because you get a free tire in Q3 that you just give back afterwards. You know, yeah, so we'll have to see what Carter decides to do. Most of the drivers are in the pits. Jerry's going on an outlap. Pubed and Izat, they're comfortable with where they are. They're retiring out of this Q2 session with 4.5 minutes to go, just about. Let's ride with Jer as he's setting a time on the soft tires. He's going to try to better his P6. 108.8 is the time to beat. Suicar 19's 108.2 is still the fastest time that we have seen so far. But look at that. Jer, he sets a purple first sector. So he's flying around the circuit so far, at least from what it seems. He actually goes down to 5th there. Normally I like to go down to 6th. I don't really bump it down to 5th. But you know, to each their own with the preference. He's much faster than I am, so you know, who am I to judge what these tier 1 drivers are doing in terms of the gear shifts around the tracks. But we'll have to see what kind of time he can put. A purple sector 2, so you know, it looks like it's a pretty quick lap for Jer. As he's just looking to go down this very fast sector 3 now. Honestly, like, I've lost lots of time in this sector 3 for not taking a right line. Let's see, Jer crosses the line. That's P1, 108.215, just barely inching out Suicar 19. Fortunately, this isn't for all the marbles. This is just to decide what tire you start on if you're going to make it into Q3 in the top 10. But still, it's nice to see that Jer's got pace on those soft tires. So yeah, 108.215 is the time to beat. Let's jump on board with his teammate. Well, actually, Vito, he's just starting a flying lap now. 109.0 is the time to beat. So it looks like if you're not in the 108s, you're not going to Q3. At least from what I can tell. And yeah, Carter, he's going to have to get a move on. He's still sitting in the pits. He hasn't set a time. Actually slowing down. So here, let's see. He just finished his time. He's letting Jamie 1 go through. He's currently sitting in 10th. So, you know, normally that'd be enough to get into Q3. Maybe not this time around, given that we're only in the top 14 now. So it could just be the top 9 shootout. But with 2.5 minutes to go, if you're looking to set another time, you might want to start getting that time set. Especially, you have to account for the time it takes to get out of the pits. And, you know, that does take a bit more time than what it normally does. But here we go. JB1, he's coming around the last few corners now. And we'll have to see if he can better his 109.1 as he comes through the last turn or two. And he's going to cross the line as there's yellow flags in the pits as more drivers are retiring. He's at a 108.7. That does bump him up into P7. So solid lap for him, and it looks like he might have a good chance of making it through. But yeah, more drivers now. Knight, he's going on for his out lap on the soft tires. Biz Racing, he's just finishing his out lap now. But here, let's quickly jump on board with Young Lights. As he's currently sitting in a provisional P9. Let's see what kind of time can he set as he's going to cross the line. He actually goes third fastest. He sets a 108.4, so a pretty good time for him in that Haas car. So yeah, it looks like he does have some pace there. But you'll have to see as now everyone's going around now, except for Carter. What's going on with Carter? Let's actually take a quick peek at the Discord to see if anybody has said anything about it, or if he has actually said anything about what's going on, because I'm not too sure why he would make it through into Q2 and decide he just doesn't want to set a time. You know, maybe it's just in the strategy that starting from 14th, free tire choice is a little bit better than starting from P20, and maybe that's just what he's looking to do. But yeah, to be honest, I am really not sure why he hasn't come out yet. But here we go. Biz Racing, he actually jumps up into P3, 108.31. Here, let's see. Knight is currently going around, finishing his sector 2, about to go to sector 3. Let's ride on board with them. Doesn't look like he's going to make it through into Q3, but he actually says a purple sector 2, so really feeling that second sector. Knight is, it seems, in that Red Bull car. Red Bull, they are known for the aero, for the chassis, and he's definitely feeling it there. He's going to cross the line. Good enough for P10. Is that going to be enough to promote him into that Q3 slot? We will find out soon enough. Yeah, Gernman, he's going through his Red Bull teammate. Looks like he's going to cross the line soon enough. Let's see. Can he actually do better than P11? He crosses the line. No, 108.761 is his time. So that's good enough for P11, but not good enough to move on into that Q3. Vito doesn't look like he's going to go through either, as he's going into the pits on those 3-lap old soft tires. But yeah, it looks like that pretty much settles it for Q2, as we're just waiting for Biz Racing to cross the line. He's going into the pits now, so yeah, I guess that does it. Jer, Sweet Crown, Biz Racing, Young Lights, and Cube are the top 5. Izat, Sophion, Pretzel, and Jamie 1. They will be moving on to the top 9 shootout. Knight is currently on the bubble, currently sitting in 10th, but since we didn't start with a full grid, I'm not too sure if he's going to make it into that Q3 session. But, you know, Carter, not making it into Q3, but didn't even bother trying to make it into Q3, so I'm not too sure what's going on with him. Maybe he's got a strategy that you know, a secret strategy that might work out well for him. But we will find out soon enough. And actually, yeah, there we go. Knight was just able to inch into Q3. So yeah, Jer, Sweet Crown, Biz Racing, Young Lights, Pubed, Izat, Sophion, Pretzels, Jamie 1, and Knight, as I was just talking about. Not even 6/10 separating the top 10 drivers there. But yeah, Gernman, Vito, Lewis, and Carter, who did not set a time, will be eliminated out of this Q2 session. And here we go. We're going to have 12 minutes now into Q3 once we're ready to move on to see who will start for on pole position. And it's do or die. You don't have to worry about the tires because, you know, you're going to be giving away those tires afterwards. It's not like you're going to need them for the race. You just give them back to the FIA. But here we go. We're about ready to load into Q3 now. And yeah, I'm excited to see what the pace is going to have. Actually, let's take this time. Let's take a look at the chat for everybody watching at home. As to what they're going to be like in the race, I would like to know as well. It looks like Astunik is letting us know it's going to be crystal clear. I was hoping to see some rain actually in the race, since we haven't really seen any this weekend. I guess it's not. You know, I guess it's, you know, the drivers are probably happy that it's going to be a dry race, but for all of us watching at home, I'm sure we were probably hoping for a bit of weather to spice things up a little bit. But yeah, here we go. Where looks like Pube is going to be the first to come out for Q3. Once again, right behind, I think that's Young Lights there. Looks like a carbon copy of the exit for Q2. Just about, but yeah, let's ride on board with Pube as we're starting Q3. They're going on their out laps. This is do or die, so I'm sure everybody's going to be on the soft tires. I don't know why you would be on. Yeah, there we go. So set the fitted tires. Let's put the telemetry back on to see who's on a flying lap and who isn't based on the ERS, for those of you who are not aware. And you know what? The lap data, because it's qualifying, I like to have it on for quality just to kind of see what the lap times are as they're going around. It's, yeah, everyone's going out on their out laps now. Only 12 minutes in Q3, and we're down to you know, already a minute gone. You know, when you take into account those 12 minutes, it's about, you know, a minute and 10 seconds to go do your out lap, even more so, maybe a minute and a half with the time it takes to get out of the pits, then another minute, and let's say minute 8, minute 9 to do your flying lap, and then another minute 20, minute and a half. So that's about, you know, 4.5 minutes just for one lap. And then you have to take the time to exchange your tires, go out again. So probably only time for 2 laps for most of these drivers. So, you know, you got to make it count in Q3, especially if you want a good starting spot. And looks like other than Knight and Jamie 1, everybody's been going out on their out laps, looking to hopefully set 2 times now. But I guess Knight and Jamie 1 gonna wait for the track to warm up, go for a one and done kind of deal. But here we go. We'll see what Pube can do as he's going into the second. He's going right through the second sector now, approaching the technical spot of the second sector. Looks like he's got some good lines. You Here we go. Yeah, he bumps it down into second. Goes down the first just a tiny little bit, but quickly up into third, fourth, fifth, down to third, second, and first even. I'd like to take it in second, but Pube has much more pace than me, so yeah, I trust on what he's doing. Yeah, purple sector 2 as he's leading the pack going around now, but it looks like Suicrown 19, his teammate, is following shortly behind him on those soft tires. So let's see, what can the Williams boys do as Pube is gonna cross the line first. 108.5 is the time to beat. Let's quickly jump to Suicrown as he's gonna cross the line, and he sets a 108.294. So he's sitting on provisional pole as more drivers. Young Light C splits the Williams. So he says a 108.3, so a solid lap for him. Currently sitting in second. Now let's see. We're going to see Sophion. He's crossing the line. It's good enough for fifth as more drivers are setting times now. Here, let's quickly jump with that's Jamie 1 and an out lap. He's on 1 lap old. I guess he invalidated his time, so it's a little bit unfortunate for him. What happened here with Biz Racing? Is that Biz Racing or is that Izat? Yes, that's Biz Racing there, going very slow. I'm not too sure what happened to him there. He's just struggling going into the pits, so he must have lost it. Yeah, he must have lost it going, and actually was too busy looking at that. I didn't notice Jer. He's sitting on provisional pole now. He sets a 108.287, just barely inching out Suicrown 19's time. But here we go. Knight looks like he's about to set a time, able to get past Jer as we were just speaking. We'll see what kind of time he can put on those soft tires as he's flying around the circuit. But yeah, Knight, Izat, Jamie 1, and Biz Racing haven't set a time just yet. I think Izat probably in the worst spot of them all because he still needs to go around. Doesn't look like he's going to be setting a time. I think he's going to dive into the pits by the end of this lap here. Jamie 1, let's see what he's going to do as he's about to cross the line soon. What kind of time can he put for real this time? It sets him up for a provisional P5, a 108.5, so pretty good time for him, but we still have yet to see that elusive 107. So, I'd like to see a 107 in this Q3 session. We might see one later on. Let's jump with Knight as he's going to cross the line. He sets a 108.897, so good enough for P8. Still early on. He can still quickly hurry around, set another lap once the track is warmed up a little bit. With a little under 7 minutes to go in qualifying, there's still loads of time for the track to heat up, and get a bit more grip, a bit more pace on the tires. Biz Racing going out on his out lap. He's into the pits, so he's probably going to get another set of softs on. Jamie 1 going on his in lap, it appears, and Knight going on his in lap. So yeah, most of the drivers sitting in the pits, just waiting for the right time. So let's actually ride with Biz Racing, since he's only probably the only driver out now who will actually be able to watch. As he's actually about to do a flying lap once he crosses the line and gets through the end of this out lap. But yeah, so here we go. Jer, Suicrown, and Young Light, so far they are the top 3 from what we can see. There we go. I'm actually looking at the, oh my goodness, wow, gap from 7th to 11th in Q2. For those of you who are not aware, so 7th set a 108.470, and 11th set a 108.761. So that's a 0.021 for the gap between 7th and 11th in Q3. So when I was talking about those tenths of a second, meaning the world in qualifying, that's exactly what I mean. Because 0.21 was the difference between Gurman actually making it through into Q3 and being knocked out in that Q2. But yeah, we'll actually see. But yeah, and even speaking now, 108.287 and 108.294 between Jer and Suicrown 19. Very small gap there too. But here we go. Biz Racing, he's crossing the line, bumps the ERS down. I'm not too sure why he was doing that. Maybe just keeping some for the last little bit there. He's going to cross the line to set his first time. good enough for P4, so pretty solid time for Biz Racing, 108.4, and that would be a pretty solid starting spot for him. You know, if this is how qualifying ended. Now, Sucrown 19 looks like he's actually on a flying lap now, so we'll see what he can do. So it looks like he clips the grass a little bit there. That might hinder him a little bit. Normally, he's used to starting from first. Currently sitting in P2 from the hands of Jer, but he's still in the front row of the grid, at least for now. But we'll see as he's coming around. Looks like he's flying around. He's actually 0.3 quicker than his previous time, so we might actually see that notorious 107 as he's coming through the last turn now, that last little kink before the line. And look at that, a 107.961, and that's good enough for provisional pole with about 3 3/4 minutes left to go in this Q3 session. And we'll see, can anybody set a better time than Sucrown 19? As it looks like we're approaching the final minutes of qualifying in this Q3 session. It feels like it's just flown by, to be completely honest with you and everybody watching at home. I don't know how you're feeling watching at home, but yeah, it's definitely flown by. It's not like Interlagos is the longest track on the calendar, but still. You know, if this is anything to indicate from the race, you know, we'll have to see. But with the race, anything can happen. As let's see, Jamie 1, he's completing his out lap, and we'll see, can he better his time? Currently sitting in P7, but yeah, I'm sure he can go faster than that. Especially near with the end of qualifying. Actually invalidates his lap, so that's a heartbreak for Jamie 1. As you know, bump it down into 0. You know what? If I was him, I would just book it around. I would just book it around, try to get one last lap in, because it's not like you're gonna have enough time to, you know, to set another lap in. You know, go into the pits and switch the tires. So it looks like that's probably what he's going to be doing. But yeah, let's jump with Izat. He's currently sitting in P5. The top 4 currently sitting into the pits. I don't know if Jared's just buying his time, but or if he's okay with the P2 that he currently has. But he's probably, you know, if he wants to get a pole, he's probably going to have to hurry it up. But no, I think he's actually probably on an in-lap now. Yeah, definitely on an in-lap here. Let's jump with Knight. He looks like he's on a flying lap as he's coming up to the technical portion of that sector 2, that I can't stress enough could actually make or break a lap. But yeah, let's see, can he better his time? He's currently sitting in P10 out of 10 in this Q3 session, so hoping to see more pace from Knight, but you know, maybe he's just not feeling Interlagos today. Knight, normally he's not the quickest in terms of qualifying pace, but he definitely has the race pace. But actually, I say that he sets a purple sector too. So yeah, much better lap from him as he's coming around the last few kinks now. Takes a very tight line. He's gonna cross the line, bump him up into P9. So I guess he lost a lot of time in either the first or the third sector. 108.6, but you know, look out for Knight in the race, because as I said, he definitely has the race pace. But here we go. Now we're seeing the big guns coming out on their out laps. The likes of Sophion, Biz Racing, Jer, Sucrown 19. He actually wants to set another lap. Pubed, he invalidates his lap, so he's gonna have to go around one more time if he so chooses to set a better lap. He hasn't really knocked down his ZRS, so I'm not too sure why he hasn't bothered conserving a little bit. But yeah, let's see. He's going for real this time. Let's give the onboard so you get a wonderful camera angle, I do have to say. There we go. That's a much better one. As he's coming around now, he's keeping it into that overtake. Level 4 bumps it down to high now, as I was saying that. We'll keep an eye on him. Biz Racing, he's setting a time. Oh no, is that he invalidates his time, but he's on 2-lap old soft tires, so he's probably going to dive into the pits. Let's see, where is Biz Racing? He's coming around just nearing sector 2. I think he's actually oh no, he's actually right in front of Sweet Crown 19. Let's see, where's Jer? Jer sets a purple sector 1. So let's actually ride on board with the Jer, because it seems like the battle here for that pole position is going to be between Jer and Sucrown19, unless another competitor squeezes out of nowhere and surprises us all. But here we go. We're down literally to the end of Q3. 2.5 minutes to go, but it's do or die now as these drivers are going to cross the cross the line. Pubed actually goes second fast. It's just a 108.208, so inching out Jer. So even more reason for Jer to get a move on. So now let's see as Jer's going to cross the line. Can he? Biz Racing, he goes 108.201. So he's actually sitting in a provisional P2. Jer crosses the line, and he takes that P2 back, 107.079, but nobody's been able to beat the 107.961 that was set by Sucrown19. So now with the last few drivers going into the pits, it looks like this is, that's it. That's the qualifying session, just like that. So Sucrown19 is going to start from pole position here around Interlagos for the round 3 of the ISRL Grand Prix. Jer looks like he's going to be the start for Jer. Biz Racing in P3 and Cubed starting in P4. And Young Lice looks coming out. I'm not too sure why he's doing that, because it's not like he can set. It's not like he can set another time. At least from what I can tell. But what happens? Just saying pits. So I guess he went out a little bit too late. But I guess we might have to wait for him to go around onto the race. But yeah, so there we go. Young, which is Biz Racing's teammate. He's going to start in 6th. I honestly expected he's had to start a little bit higher, to be honest, from what he's shown pace-wise. But, race pace and qualifying pace are two different beasts. And some of these drivers, they've got the race pace, they don't have the quality pace. Some of these drivers, they've got the quality pace, they don't have the race pace as well. It's kind of about a mix of both. Sometimes it's just about the setup. The setup works better for for race pace and not quite really for qualifying pace. But yeah, we'll have to see how the race unfolds. We spoke about the weather. It looks like it's going to be clear, so that won't really affect too much. But that first turn around Interlagos, it's very easy to mistime your braking zone around that lap 1, turn 1, and even so lose it going around the first turn, because you're coming down, you're flying through from the start, all the cars are bunched together, and then you got to watch your braking point, a little bit like well, no, not like US, the opposite of US, because you're going downhill around the first few turns. So hitting that first turn, going around the Senna S's while everybody is all bunched together can be actually make or break for most of the races. But here, actually, let's see. Yeah, it looks like we are just waiting for Young Lights to go around. We're watching the AI go as we're down to 1 second remaining in the qualifying before we can move on to the race. So maybe a bit of the stream lag, I believe, or we will find out soon enough. But yeah, it looks like most of everyone's asking for Young Lights to retire. It looks like it's going to be a glitch, but here we go. Let's see. He's going to cross the line soon enough. It's just a little bit annoying that we're having to just sit and watch a Young Lights. Oh, he's going into the pits on top of that too. So yeah, he's going around for a bit of a joy lap there. Oh, what the heck? Alright, so it looks like we've got a bit of a glitch lobby. I see we've got word from management that we will be restarting the session. So yeah, we will, we're definitely going to restart the session. Yeah, I guess he just needs to leave. So Young Lights, we have the stream open. Just leave the session so we can move on to the race and rejoin. We do have that, we take a few minutes between the qualifying and the race anyways, in order to, oh, actually, here we go. As everybody's now leaving the session, qualifying finally just ended, but I don't think we are going to be, I don't know if we are going to be starting in this session. Yeah, actually, here you'll find out soon enough. So bear with me. I might go. Oh, actually, everybody's leaving the session. So yeah, it looks like we are going to be restarting the session. Don't worry, we're not going to be doing all the qualifying again. We still have all the results from qualifying. But we're going to have to restart the session. Just because of the glitch that was going on at the end of the qualifying session there. But yeah, so we're just starting a new lobby. I'm going to be waiting for the invite. I'll keep everybody entertained here in the meantime, as well as I can, just so that way we're not doing this whole two different stream thing as we've done in the past. But yeah, everybody's leaving the session. I'm just going to stick around up until I get my invite. So yeah, bear with me a quick moment. Alright, yeah, so definitely most people left. It looks like we're going to start the new lobby. For those of you that were not aware, I've repeated that quite a few times. Yeah, everybody's leaving now. Looks like it's just going to be myself and everybody watching at home in the lobby soon enough. Yep, there we go. Not enough players. So I will stand by waiting for the invite to the new lobby. But yeah, I'm just going to keep everybody entertained watching at home. Oh my goodness, yeah, look at that. But yeah, so stand by. How's everybody doing? Watching from home. Are you excited? Hope you're excited as I am for the race. Now the qualifying is over. Yeah, there we go. Disconnected during the host migration. That is perfectly fine. Just waiting on the invite for the new lobby. So at least for now, can enjoy my my home screen of the F1 2020 game. I'm sure everybody at home probably has seen this screen enough, so I don't really need to run through it. Yes, there we go. We're just waiting for the invite. Here, actually, let's see if I can actually join the session. Just to get just to get in, be a little bit proactive for everybody watching at home. But yeah, so we're gonna jump into the race. We should still have the formation lap. I'm just not sure if we're gonna be doing this. If we're gonna have a bit of a break before the race starts, or if this is actually considered the break. But here we go. Let's join the session back up. Hopefully everything goes smoothly this time around, at least for the race, as we are waiting and waiting and waiting. And oh boy, errors on my end. Absolutely wonderful. Sorry about the technical issues for everybody watching at home. Let's try to join again now, but hopefully this isn't an ongoing issue for us. But yeah, so we'll have to see. I believe everybody in Q2 was probably on the soft tires, so I think everybody's going to be starting on the soft tires, at least in the top 10, at least as far as the top 10 are concerned, I should say. Still waiting to join the session. It's being a little bit stubborn, as it normally seems to be. Failed to join the session. That is extremely annoying. I do apologize for everybody watching at home. I will attempt this again. And yeah, I haven't received an invite from anybody either. But yeah, so let's see. Let's try to join from from somebody else. See if maybe it's just the that particular connection there. But here we go. Let's try this one more time. Please work, game. Oh my goodness. Okay. Alright, wonderful error codes. Got an invite this time around. Hopefully this will be better. It'll bring us better luck. Oh gosh, failed to join this session already. So this is being a little bit annoying. You know what? Let's try this again. Feel like I'm beating my head against a wall here, and once again I do apologize for everybody watching at home. It seems like we cannot get it through a race without some form of technical issues this week. It seems like it's a bad week for internet, at least for me once again, but the session no longer exists. Oh my goodness. Okay, I don't know what the heck is going on. But yeah, I do apologize for everybody watching at home for these for the technical issues. I might just have to restart the stream actually, just try to get into the lobby and not not have you all just watch me trying to join and fail over and over again. So I think actually that's what I'm going to do. So just bear with me, stand by as I get the new stream started for the start of the race. Just once I can actually get into the lobby.